Well, hello there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another edition of our God and Gigs Creator Checkup. If you're new to God and Gigs, thanks for jumping in, for deciding to give us some time, some chances to share what we have to share here. Because at God and Gigs, we're here to help you to build your best creative life from the inside out by applying timeless spiritual principles to temporary creative problems. I'm your host, Alan C. Paul. And we go live every Friday, pretty much not missing a beat. Every single week we go live on Fridays. We have a podcast on Mondays, and then we have our Creator Checkup newsletter on Wednesdays. So we do a audio and a video version, and then we do a written version on Wednesdays. But Fridays is for our live conversations with our community. And as I said, we are here to help you to become the creator that you were created to be. Going live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and also over here on TikTok. If you guys are looking in, you're kind of like getting a bird's eye view. So you are also getting a chance to enjoy this. But if you want to be a part of our discussion, you got to be on one of the platforms that talk back to us. So we want you to share, even if you're watching on LinkedIn or watching on replay, I should say. LinkedIn, I don't think I'm allowed to put up your comments. But here, if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, I'm able to pull up your comments live. So it would be awesome to have the conversation. I don't want it to be a, monologue. I want this to be a dialogue. So feel free to comment, and I'm able to pull up your comments here. And of course, if you're watching on replay right now, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go listen. I'm going to go follow your comments and keep the conversation going. So even if you couldn't join us at 1 p.m. Eastern, that's okay. You will still be a part of the conversation, and you can get some feedback. You can get some inspiration, some encouragement from this live stream, even if you are not directly joining us live. Well, as I mentioned, we are here to help you, and the way we're going to help you today, we're going to address something that is it's a little bit, it touches everyone, but especially those of us who have been in the game for a little bit. Maybe if you're just starting, you haven't faced this, but for those of us, let me slow down. For those of us who have been creating for a long time, we have hit at times this wall. We've hit this moment that things didn't feel right. As a matter of fact, a little bit later, I'm going to share how I dealt with my own creator midlife crisis, when I felt like everything was shattering around me. I didn't know what to do next. I'm going to share that in a little bit. I promise you, just hang in. And I'm going to give you the backstory of how I dealt with my own midlife crisis and how I overcame it, and how you can also overcome that question mark when you're not sure if you are in the right calling anymore, because whatever you were pursuing no longer seems to be bringing you the results that it was before. But before we do that, I want to make sure to let you know what we're doing today. I always want to give you at least a kind of an overview of what the topics will be today. So today we're going to go through our winner circle. We're going to talk about our YouVersion reading plan updates. We have some amazing news and some accolades and accomplishments that came because you guys are reading along with us on the YouVersion app, which is, of course, the most popular Bible app in the world. And we get to share our YouVersion reading plans there. So we'll talk about that. Then we'll get right into what I just discussed, the whole point of what to do when you feel like God has shifted your creative calling, when you're not sure if it's just a season that's changed or your entire assignment, everything that you thought you were supposed to do. When that shifts under your feet, what do you do? How do you handle it? We're going to get into that. Then we're going to get into our lab work. I like to, as you can see, put this in the sense of kind of like a checkup with your doctor. So just like you would check in with your doctor and say, hey, what do I actually do here? We're going to talk about that today in our landing pages. You may not even know what a landing page is, but we're going to share why you need to have one and how it can get you a ton of new followers who are connected to what you share. So that'll be our lab work. Then our consult. We're going to have a little fun with this, a would you rather, where we get to have a little discussion on, would you rather have one big hit in your field or small sustained successes over time, but never hit it big? We're going to talk about that and why we feel that way. And finally, our prescriptions, a special offer just for our frustrated creators who are having struggles. We want to make sure you have something that will help you. So hang on to the end if you can. Hang on to the end because you're going to have something that's just for you that will bless you and help you to overcome that issue in your creator life as you pursue God and his calling on your life. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have so many cool things happening, and I like to start with our winner circle. And because we're talking about our membership, let me quickly tell you what that is. Our membership is our home for faith-focused creators, God and Gigs 360 Gold. It's algorithm-free, discipline-specific discussions. So think of it as if Facebook and LinkedIn were just for Christian creatives and didn't have any ads and didn't have any of that foolishness, it would be God and Gigs 360. We just invented a place, created a place where you can get all the trainings you need, workshops, and people like you, who think like you, who pray like you, who believe like you, but also want to create and grow. That's where we're hanging out. We closed down our Facebook group. And that's where these winners, by the way, as I'm about to pull up our membership so you can actually get a bird's eye view, I'm going to let you inside the curtain for a second, because the easiest way for me to tell you who's winning is to actually pull up the website and let you guys see inside the membership. So let's take a quick look inside, see if I'm in here now. So yeah, we're inside the membership now. And here is where Manuel has just started his new podcast, the Trumpeters Podcast. Like, he literally posted this 2 hours ago, y'all. So y'all seeing inside the membership right now. So he's in the winner's circle. Now I want to go over here to the actual winner's circle. And let's see who's winning. Oh, look, I'm there. But let's look at some of these comments. Let's see if I can open up these comments here. We have Simony. Oh my gosh, Simony, congratulations on your first home. Look at that, y'all. Y'all got to give it up. Please give Simony some love for having purchased her first home. Anita had her craft show and has also opened up her YouTube page. By the way, Anita, congratulations also on being a Accelerator member for the second time. Pamela, we're going to give you some kudos here. Pamela Leak finished her ebook, a resource for aspiring and current entrepreneurs. Pamela, if you are watching, please share the link. We would love to support you there. And I just mentioned, this is something I want to talk about in a second, our 1,000 plan completions on YouVersion. So as you can see, we have a lot of creators that are winning inside Guiding Gigs 360, and it's why I would love for you guys to join us over there if you haven't already. So stay tuned. I might have a special offer for you. But let's continue to go on with the rest of our news and notes. And as I mentioned, the Creators Battle is our most recent YouVersion reading plan. It's been doing amazing. So many of you have come back to me and said the specific data has been really impacting you. Some have said the delay, I think that's day 2 in the Creators Battle, has been very impactful for you. Some people have talked about procrastination. Well, that's delay. And the other ones have talked about the training and the sparring. That's been an issue that you've been dealing with how to deal with your obstacles. So if you have not already, all you got to do to find any of our devotionals is go to guidinggigs.com/YouVersion. guidinggigs.com/YouVersion. So now, if you're watching and enjoying this right now, I would love to hear from you, where you're watching from. Tell me what you're doing. If you're a creator in a certain field, if you're a creator in a certain niche, if you're a musician, designer, photographer, videographer, author, playwright, actor, actress, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to know who I'm talking to, even if we are talking on replay. Okay, so again, those of you who are watching on replay, feel free to jump in and share where you're watching from, who you're watching with, and what your creative thing is, because that would absolutely bless us, so we know that you're in the membership, you're in the community, and that you are joining us, because your comments, once again, it helps us to connect with you, and it helps us to connect with other people who are watching. But thankfully, we're done with our news and notes, and we're going to jump right into our vital signs, where we're going to share some of those things that are really impacting your creative life, especially if you're feeling like God has changed your creative calling. So let's jump into that now. All right. I know this is going to impact several of my fellow midlifers, I guess you could say, those of us who have been around for a little while, what do they say? You know a thing or two because you've seen a thing or two. So this has been coming up several times in some of our accelerator calls, some of our gold calls with our membership, and some people who have simply emailed me and said, hey, this is my main issue right now. This is what I'm facing. And I am terming it a midlife creative crisis. And the reason I'm using this kind of framework of a crisis, and again, I don't want to make light of it. Some people are dealing with major issues. But in this case, we're just going to leave it for the creators who are facing this crisis, because it's usually the same thing as a midlife crisis where it feels like whatever you were doing before isn't working, and you feel like you're in a rut, and you feel like things just need to change. And I definitely feel that this is a common issue with creators, especially when you have been working in the field that you've been working in for a while. You may have been dancing, singing, performing, playing, writing all your life. You may have put 10, 20 years into building your gift, building your craft, serving in ministry or serving in another area, working your business, building your business. So it might be all you know. And yet, when it comes down to this moment that you're thinking, wait a minute, have things changed? Is it because the income is drying up? Is it because there never really has been any income and you're just feeling like this doesn't seem to be working? I can't sustain this. Maybe you feel like you are starting to struggle with the 9 to 5 and your current job, competing with your hustle and with your creative parallel career. And at the same time, you're like, wait a minute, I don't even know if I should be doing this specific thing anymore because it doesn't seem to fulfill me the same way. Or it fulfills me the same way, but it's getting harder and harder to actually push forward with it. If that's you, I would love for you to share and say, hey, that's me in the comments, number one. And then number two, I would love for you to kind of think back and say to yourself, have you been in that space where you didn't know if God had called you anymore to this specific thing? Now, let's go back and first say this. Before we talk about if God has changed his call, let's first talk about the initial call. Did you feel called to your initial creative gift, to your initial creative talent, to your initial creative project? Did you feel called to that? Because that's the first thing. We can't say whether God has changed his call until we discuss whether God called you in the first place. But here's the good news. I don't think that's ever going to be the issue with us. I don't believe, honestly, I think one of the things that we struggle with, and I just had a podcast interview on this, that God somehow gives you this inkling of feeling or desire to explore something in your life and you go for it, and then he penalizes you because that's not what he's called you to do, or that's not the specific thing. Now, I'm not saying running in the wrong direction. I'm not saying doing something entirely disobedient to God. I'm saying when you thought something was right, you took a chance on it, you gave it your all, and it turned out not to be exactly what was the best thing for you. I don't think God takes that and just kind of wags it in your face and say, nope, you should have done this, you should have done that. Because I think a lot of creators, we want the certainty, but the problem is that there is no certainty. So many of these things have to be simply acted upon. You think you should go ahead and take that role, so you try it. You think you should go ahead and submit that song, so you try it. You want to do the audition, or you start the band, or whatever, and there are no guarantees. And I don't think that's a problem. When God gives you the desire to try something new, and I'm saying God gave you the desire, there is always a chance that it doesn't work out entirely. That doesn't mean it's not a calling. It doesn't mean that because it doesn't work for 30, 40, 50 years that it wasn't what you're supposed to do. There are seasons to our creator lives, just like there are seasons to the natural creative cycle and to the natural cycle of life, right? To those seasons of fall, spring, summer. There's a natural rhythm to that. There's also a natural rhythm to our creator lives as well. So if things start to change, let's first agree that it does not mean you weren't called in the first place to a certain skill, to develop your skill, to develop your talent, to build a business in some way. Now, that being said, does God sometimes shift our assignment? Well, we got to look at scripture first. Let's always start with the Bible. And let's look at a couple of people who were doing one thing and then God said, nope, do another thing. So the easiest one that we can point to is Moses, right? Moses was called to be, at one point he was Prince of Egypt and that didn't work out. And then he moves out and to become a shepherd. And then God, 80 years old, calls him now back to Egypt to become the deliverer of Israel. And a whole nother season starts. So obviously in these areas where you can see Moses was called from one thing to another thing to another thing, and whether it was out of struggle, didn't want to do it, all those reasons, he still ended up being obedient. So God clearly changed things around in Moses' life. You can look at so many other people in the Bible where their position, their calling, their actual role shifted. David, from a shepherd boy to a musician in the court to a king. And all of these things are where people shift roles inside of a particular area that they're in. God is okay with that, and God will call you out of that. Let's go now to our creative lives. When things start to feel like they are shifting, how do we approach it? So the first question is, should we approach our creative calling like it's a one-size-fits-all? And by the way, let me pull in. I love the fact that Charles checked in on LinkedIn, and now we know LinkedIn comments work. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. Great to see you. And I love this, what he just said. I want to make sure I stopped to make sure we address this comment. That's me, still feel called, but looking for the balance of ministry and marketplace with that call. You could not have encapsulated this discussion any better. This is exactly why I want to have it, right? So I'm going to kind of throw the question back at you in a sense, because I want to make sure I'm not, again, making a one size fits all. So the balance of ministry and marketplace with the call, when I see that there's a seemingly wrestling match between, am I called to ministry? Am I called to marketplace? Is one supposed to have more emphasis than the other? And is this a shifting point perhaps for you, maybe, where you feel one is going to get more weight? And that's what's funny about saying this. Even as soon as I say it, it feels weird to say. Would there ever be more ministry weight or more weight in marketplace and ministry? However, that's literally my testimony. God asked and called and pushed me, and here's the part that I promised I would tell you about, where I felt that pivot point, that midlife crisis, was when I gave up my full-time position in my previous church. It was a midlife. I knew nothing except being a musician and a minister of music. That's all I knew. That was my identity. That's what I felt my purpose was. That's where I felt my lifetime calling would be as a minister of music, a worship musician, leading a church, leading a ministry, and so on. And how did I know that this was a pivot point? Because it was a crisis. It was a crisis of conflict between me and other people that I didn't see coming. It was a crisis of me facing the fact that I could not be entirely fulfilled as a creator, doing what I was doing, which felt selfish, but was also, I believe, God giving me that nudge of saying, hey, you're not built for just this particular assignment. And here's where I think it's so important. Here's where I'll help everybody by giving you guys at least some context, so it's not just a whole bunch of questions. I believe the context has to be God's will, and this is written, by the way, in my devotional, The Creator's Timing. God's will always involves other people. So musicians, creators, all of us, we can get very, very, very laser focused, almost myopic in a sense, of only thinking about what is God doing with my life for me right now in this moment. And all we think about is ourselves. And when you say it like that, it doesn't seem like it's selfish, but that's why I'm saying it like this. We're not trying to be selfish, but in a sense we are, because we're viewing our calling as a individual decision that God is making with us. But God's decisions are never simply about us, even though he's concerned about us. They always involve others who will be met on the way as we pursue our creator callings, as we pursue our callings as Christians. Things will change because other people will be involved, because other ministries, other people will be in their ways, other people will be customers, other people will be eventual. So what I'm trying to remind you of right now is to face your midlife creative crisis with the knowledge that it will affect others. It is about others that will be on that path with you and will be affected by your next decision. And that shouldn't bring pressure. That should give, that should give you a lot more freedom to realize maybe your assumption that you have to make the right decision just for you isn't necessarily the case. God sees way bigger than you do, and you taking another path can open the door to a whole new world of possibilities that you had not considered because other people will be involved, because you'll find other communities, because other relationships will be formed. And again, this doesn't mean you pull up all your roots, but it does mean you open the possibility and understand that your next push or your next call, your next season may be simply to open up the door to new relationships, to new opportunities and things that you don't see quite now. And you can let go of what you thought was your previous calling. That's what I did. I did walk, in a sense, away from a previous calling that felt like it was never coming back. And yet I find myself now right back in a position where I am leading a ministry or helping as far as the worship ministry. A lot of it was returned. So the Bible is very clear about that. Cast your bread upon the waters 6 or 7 times because you don't know which one is going to come back. I love this, Charles. Charles says that part. Appreciate you, man. And again, I'm glad that you're sticking with us because I can't see who is watching from LinkedIn. And I'm glad that you're connecting with us. And you, sir, with all of your gifts, again, are a perfect future content creator. I love this. All right. So you're gonna hang around because I got something for you that might bless you, man. So this is a great segue to, now that you know that your creator crisis is not a sentence of death over your creative call, is not that you have to make the perfect decision. You may want to pivot to a point. We've talked about this in previous creator checkups. Pivoting is not the same as throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Pivoting is not saying I'm no longer going to play anymore, sing anymore, dance anymore, write anymore. But it is saying I'm going to open the door to these other avenues and allow God to kind of give me wisdom as I walk out what I believe might be my next season of my creative calling. But the Bible says the gifts and calling of God are without repentance. He doesn't take it back. We sometimes feel like it's all or nothing. That's not the way God operates. The same gifts God put in David to be a warrior, to be a worshiper, were required throughout his life. He didn't necessarily lose the gifting. He just operated in a different role. And operating in a different role does not somehow destroy your gifts. It just means that they're operating in a different function or fashion. So my ability to write was already being formed and I had to keep working on it. And now that I'm doing much more writing than I was in the past, doesn't mean that I wasn't being prepared for being a writer. It just means that as I pivoted and slowly kind of slid into where podcasting and writing are much more part of my creator lifestyle, I had to embrace the fact that maybe music wouldn't be as prevalent. And that's okay. It's a accepting of the fact that you do not have to identify yourself. Your identity does not come from the role you play. Your identity is in the God that you serve and in the fact that you are called and chosen, period. And then you are asked and guided and assigned certain roles within your calling. My calling is to bless others and to bless the kingdom and to bless, people of God. That's my calling. My role in that calling shifts and balances and goes through seasons, but my calling never changes. So I hope that blessed you and helps you. And again, if you want to check out the creator's timing, because I think what I really just did is just gave you a little bit of the whole point behind the creator's timing. Go check out godandgifts.com/uversion. That is where you can find all of our devotionals. And that is where the creator's timing is, and where any of the other resources that you want to find on the Bible app, that would be a great place for you to check that out. But this was a great conversation. Thank you, Charles, for checking in there, because that absolutely blessed me and helped me to kind of form what I was trying to say there. All right, so let's keep it moving though, because we got so much to cover. Let's get into our lab work. Okay, before we keep going, quick note. If you guys are joining us over here on TikTok, I know you see me like looking at two different screens, right? So TikTok, remember, I cannot share my screen. So if you guys want to see what these other folks are seeing, you got to jump over to our YouTube page. That is right there in our description. You can just tap that first link and then you'll join us here on YouTube. And I would love for you guys to get the whole basis. This is kind of like you just like, being a voyeur. I hate using that word, but kind of bird's eye view, seeing me talk on my live stream. But yep, we're actually here on YouTube sharing our screen and everything. All right, so let's jump into our lab work. Now, this was a surprise to me, honestly, when this came up in one of our accelerator calls. We're currently doing our fall accelerator. Some creators are making some tremendous progress. It's kind of like our gold coaching program on Hyperdrive. We go 8 weeks and we just blow up and really help these people tune up and get something done right away in their creative lifestyles. And so this came up in one of our creator calls, and I realized, oh, wait, if this is one person, maybe there's other people who need this help. So the question was about landing pages and websites. So you're a creator, you're a professional, you're an artist, you're a musician. Maybe you've got your LinkedIn, or maybe you've got your Instagram and you got your Facebook or whatever. But you're like, okay, followers can come and go. I don't even know these people really know who I am. And then only like 6 people saw my post or whatever. And you're just kind of frustrated. You're on the social media wheel. What's going on? Are people watching? Anybody else been there? If you are struggling with the social media, are they really with me? Are people looking at my posts? I mean, this is just life in 2025 for creators. No matter what your field is, whether you're an artist, musician, worship musician, whatever you are, you're dealing with the social media stuff. So if that's you, please share in the comments, or if you're watching live on the replay, let me know. As a matter of fact, let's pull up the comments real quick so that we can see everybody that's sharing right now. So if that's you, let me tell you, let's get right to the point of social media has lied to us and made us feel that those are real connections. I saw the other day that YouTube went down for a portion of time, and I'm literally going live on YouTube right now. So the fact that any of these platforms, let's quickly go over here. We just lost a little bit of I see what happened. Forgive me as I plug in the phone because I don't want y'all on TikTok to lose me all of a sudden. So YouTube, any of these platforms I'm going live to right now could go down at any time. And if I don't have a connection to you guys without needing social media, then it could simply cut off me. Oh gosh, you guys just saw that. Oh my gosh. Speaking of, okay. That is going to be number one. Make sure I didn't just crack my skull. That is going to be funny watching that back. Oh my gosh, that hurt, y'all. I cannot play that off. Oh my gosh, that was so bad. Oh my gosh, I'm kind of glad now that I only have a few viewers, because that was probably the most epic fail. All right, please do not lean over and follow me. Goodness gracious, that hurt. Okay, I'm not even trusting this anymore. Y'all like saw this whole thing come up crashing down on me. All right, let's see here. Is this gonna stay? I don't believe it, guys. Now all I'm doing is just trying to make sure that I don't hurt myself. That's what just happened now. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lift this up a little bit to see if I can kind of get half a little bit of stability. Oh my Lord. Y'all did not know that live streaming was dangerous, did you? All right. Pray for me, saints, that I do not hurt myself again. That was insane. Happy Friday, Pamela. I hope you didn't see the last half a second where I nearly died. That was so crazy. I can't even get myself back together, man. If y'all watching now, I've lost it. I don't even know how to react because we literally had a whole medical situation half a second ago. I'm gonna pretend I will not. Okay, first of all, this is a great segue to what to do when things go wrong. I'm not going to edit this out. I want to edit it out. Immediately, the first thing is like, okay, how could I erase the part where my camera literally fell on my face? But this is authentic. And we are honest about what really happens in the creator lifestyle. And it includes when stuff falls literally like in the middle of the live stream. So, Jesus. Okay. Let's see if I can recover. This will be great. This will be great example for everybody on how to recover because I'm trying to do it right now. What were we talking about before everything fell apart? We were talking about landing pages. Okay. So the question was, what is a landing page? Do you need one? And how do you build one that gets new followers so that you do not have to worry about social media shutting down on you? Well, first, let me explain what a landing page is, and then maybe we'll do some screenshots and I'll take you straight through it. A landing page is simply a page that is a website that is designed simply to help people connect with an offer, to give their email address, to simply land on the page, right? A one page, and its only goal is to sell or to share or to build something up in terms of awareness. That's it. Simply that. A landing page is just that. A one website that doesn't necessarily have a lot of bells and whistles. It probably doesn't have any other pages, no menus or stuff. And usually if you see these on sales all the time where someone is selling something and you just keep going scrolling, and it's just one long page. That's a landing page. Now, here's the thing about a lot of us creators, as I continue to nurse myself. Hopefully, I'll probably have a big bump right here after a while. We'll see whether anybody else paid attention to that and saw it. So a landing page sometimes can operate as your only page. Okay, your only page might be your landing page, and you don't need a whole bunch of websites and different things because all you really need is just one page that gives people a chance to connect with you. Here's where most people make a mistake with landing pages. They think that I have to have this big funnel, and if you've heard the word funnel before, you know what I'm talking about. The funnel is all of these, buy this and then you get this offer and then this offer and then all these things come up like somebody that has like this big sales machine, and this is what a landing page does for you. And if you don't have all that, you're like, I don't even know what to do first. You don't need all of that. All we're talking about is a place where people can land, find out something about you, and share their email address so that you can stay in touch with them. Okay? That's usually also called an opt-in page. So an opt-in page or a lead magnet landing page, it all kind of goes together, but it's basically a place where people can enter their email. Usually you'll send them something like a PDF or a free video or something like that in exchange. And so this means you have to have an email service provider, not Gmail, okay, not Hotmail, not AOL.com if anybody still has that. You need to have a service like MailChimp. Kit is the one that we prefer and we recommend. But you got to have one of those. So building the landing page simply means now you need to have a single offer or problem that you can solve. And you present that landing page. And I'll give you an example that's working for us right now. If you finish the Guiding Gigs YouVersion app or reading plan, you will see an option where you can say, hey, would you like more? You can go check out this landing page. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's go ahead and pull it up because it's always easier to tell you about it than show you. Or show you than tell you. Mix that up. So, God and Gigs. Give me 1 second. Why can't I type when I need to type? I'm out of breath from trying to save myself from the falling camera. All right. So, did it connect? Let's go ahead and add the stage. Oh, gotta take this down. It didn't change. Oh, 1 second. Let's try this again. Guidance is because that's prayer. Oh, must be still loading. There it is. So here is our landing page for guidinggigs.com/prayer. So when people finish their devotional and I want them to get a little more information, they can simply go to this page, and you can go there too as well, guidinggigs.com/prayer. And it's simply this: become a more prayerful creator with our free devotional. Our free 7-day prayer guide will help you, and so on, so on, so on. And you can enter your first name, your email address, and that is a landing page. That's it. Nothing else. This page is over, especially when it comes down to having a phone or mobile optimized page. You want it to be very short. You want it to be something where people can immediately get into it right away, and you don't want it to have so much information that they forget why they came there in the first place. You want them to take an action. So your landing page should be short, to the point. Again, if you are one of these people that have a super long page, it just means you have more to talk about, and maybe you're selling something that's more expensive, so you got to do more explanation. In this case, it's a free PDF. It's a free guide, a free 7-day devotional. It doesn't need to be long. As a matter of fact, I think right now in our hyper ChatGPT world, people just want a quick answer. And if they can get it from you and they don't have to go type in their answer to ChatGPT, you're going to be more successful. So this has been one of our most successful landing pages. Now, how do we build it? Well, we went into Kit, which I'll take you in real quick. Again, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys around a little bit. And in Kit, you can go in and you can build a landing page really just from a whole bunch of templates. So we can go in here and I can go to landing pages. And I can just say I'd like to build a new one, create new, and then it gives you, how do you want to gather subscribers? Landing page. And you can see all of these templates are available, and I can customize any of them. I can go by event. I can go by links. I won't want to simply share links. This would be more for if I want people to get someplace. You've seen this like a Linktree and things like that. You can go to a newsletter format where they're actually kind of reading a little bit, but then of course you can also opt in and share their email. Podcast, let me go like this way and do one at a time. So podcast, this shares usually will be a link to an actual episode, but they can also opt in and you can send them more information. So as you can see, the whole point of a landing page is to quickly give information where people can take action. And by using one of these templates, you can quickly build your email list by giving people something simple to log into and to opt into. Okay? Simple as that. Now, again, the things that I shared are the keys. Keeping it short, making sure it's just one thing. And here's the thing that we shared in our accelerator that I'll tell you guys as well. Make sure it solves a very basic, simple problem that you can solve with just a simple solution. It should not be something that takes, some people do this for a coaching call. That's great. But the coaching call, then you share all these different things that you can do. You don't share them all on the landing page, all the solutions, all the different things. Landing pages that have way too much information get skipped over because the person that's going has to find more information right away. They're not interested in this long, drawn out thing. So that is what I recommend. Now, if you would like to go build your own landing page, all you have to do is go to guidinggigs.com/toolkit and look for the kit, K-I-T. So go to toolkit, and then you just go to kit inside the toolkit. There's so much more there, but that's just one place where you can go to find your landing page help and to sign up for an email service provider. That you can also do this through MailChimp. You can also do this through other Flowdesk. There's a bunch of other ones that, Constant Contact is more for corporate situations, but whatever you use this particular mindset for your landing page. Simple, solves a problem, tells somebody about something that you can offer and gives it quickly to them. And then once they get it, they should need to enter their email address in order to get it, or at least let's reverse that, enter their email list, into email address into your list, and then they get it. Sorry, again, I think I'm still discombobulated from getting bopped on the head by my camera. This is it's one of the most epic fails, and yet at the same time, it's proof that we know how to keep going when things go wrong. I'm kind of saying, all right, I'm just going to stick with it, even though I feel like I've just totally embarrassed myself. All right. If you're still there, if you're hanging out with us, by the way, I'm going to stop for a second. Pamela joined us. Maybe this will help me catch my breath. Happy Friday to you, Pamela. Thank you so much for joining in. If you're joining us once again on YouTube, on linked, gosh, so many different words popping in my head. I apologize. On TikTok, slow down, Alan. Maybe it's the coffee. Maybe that's why I get so discombobulated and I just keep jumping from topic to topic. My wife says I get so like engaged and I get so excited and then I'm like just all over the place. And maybe that is true. And it is a very strange thing. That's why your comments help. It helps me slow down and have conversations versus when I'm like rushing and talking to myself. And Charles has also been in here. So thank you guys for jumping in. You should introduce yourself as well, since Charles introduced himself as musician, songwriter, author, and future content creator. Pamela, make sure you share. Remember, every time somebody's watching this, they don't necessarily know who's watching or know the people who are watching. So make sure you put in your information. We also highlighted you at the beginning. We also told everybody about your new book. So feel free to share that link. Because if you have, again, this is where you could be kind of like an opt-in situation or a pretty link, something like that, where people can go find your book. Feel free to share that. I always love when we share inside our community, especially you being a gold member. All right. Now that we have paused and I think we caught our breath a little, let's jump into our consult. I'm really looking forward to this, especially since we have some people who are joining us live. I'd love to get your comments on this. So let's jump into our consult. Okay. Again, I'm like trying to pull myself together. But I love this question. I decided for our consult today, let's have a conversation about would you rather. I saw this in another membership as well, and I'm curious of what you think. Okay, so this is for your opinion. So please, even if you're watching on replay, let me know what you think. Okay, I need your participation in this, or else it's going to be a very short conversation, and I want to know what you think. So here are the would you rather options. In your creator field, author, musician, podcast, whatever you do, there's the people who have these major blow up, one big hit, bestseller, sometimes they call them one hit wonders in music, but they have something with tremendous success, incredible success, right? And then maybe because royalties and things like that, they don't really need to keep working. You keep creating, but maybe that particular one thing like pays your bills for the rest of your life. And there are stories about that, creators who make it big and then one project becomes like a cash cow and they don't have to work anymore, or they work, but they don't really need a bunch of work, right? Then there's the other people, most of us, who we never make a big hit. We never have a big splash. We never get our 15 minutes of fame. But the other, would you rather, is to have small, consistent successes. So I know this is a weird question, and some of you might say right away, wait, I have to choose? Yes, in this case, you have to choose. Would you rather have one massive hit in your field, one massive success, which makes it almost unnecessary for you to continue creating in a certain way, and you could just have that? Or would you rather have a series of small, successful projects over time, but never have the one big splash, never have the one big hit, never have the one big viral moment, never have that, and simply be, and I'll say it just to make it interesting, forced to stick with the small, sustained successes over time where you make it, but all you have is just those, I guess you would call them minor successes where they're just over and over and over again, but they're successful. They just never reach that pinnacle of world famous. So I'm curious, which door would you pick? Would you pick the one door which gives you the massive success one time? And let's be honest, you have to make it like really clear. You don't get another one. You only have one major hit over the lifetime of your creative career. Or do you pick the door number 2, which is small sustained successes, but no major hit ever? Nothing that goes beyond, I don't know, but you have to pick your metrics here, because it could be where, maybe for you, 10,000 people watching is a major hit, or it could be 10,000 is just no big deal, right? Could be 100 people watching, could be a big hit, or it could be where 100 is just sustained success. So you decide based on what you have been aiming for. What's big? Which one would you point at? Oh, and thank you so much for the gift, by the way. I just see over here. Thank you on TikTok. I have not been able to check TikTok recently. I really love this. I love the fact that we're still going live. Maybe you guys are forgiving or sending me some love for the bump on my head I got when my camera fell on my face. Still can't get over that. All right. So I am curious. I'm waiting for your responses, and then I will give you mine. Okay? I don't want to give you my response before I see yours. Would you rather is, and I probably should type this in so you guys can see it. Let's make it a banner so you guys can, actually, no, I'll put it in the comments. Let's see. So, would you rather have one big hit or a series of small successes but no hits? Okay, so that's the question. All right, there we go. Let's pull it up. You guys can see it. All right. Yeah, let's do the YouTube one. All right. So I am also curious. All right. So we have some responses here. All right. So I'm going to look up, all right, because I have my camera like way over here. My response is above. Oh, Pastor Fury, good to see you, man. Let me scroll down a little bit. Small and consistent success. That's an easy one. That would continually encourage me. I like that answer. Okay, so I can't pull it up on the screen, but you guys see what I did there. Okay, so TikTok says, Pastor Fury over there, TikTok says, small and consistent successes would be encouraging. And I, without giving you my answer, you can kind of see where I'm leaning here. I'm going to play, I'm not going to say devil's advocate because I don't believe in that, especially with the devil no advocate. I mean, Jesus is our advocate. Our Holy Spirit is our advocate. Devil doesn't need one. But I have seen a couple of people who had the one big hit and are fine with it. Didn't have any other big hits or whatever, and don't seem to be concerned or consumed with having to have the second one. And that, I think, is a healthy thing. I think that's the one thing. I think my pride wants to know one big thing. I see you. Yeah. Love it. So that's what I'm talking about. Your pride can say, you know what? I really want people to, I work so hard and I just want one time to get all the accolades and all the work and show me. But you have to be built for that. You have to be, if you are going to carry that one big splash and then know that's going to be it, you have to be built and realize that you got it. It happened. And you're still okay if it never happens again. I think what happens to a lot of creators is they get addicted to it. Let's see over here on YouTube. Pamela says series because the small wins are consistent. I see that too. I'm basically that without, yeah, I should just tell you guys can tell, like I lean in my whole lifestyle has been leaning toward the small and consistent success. That being said, again, I think there is something to be said for if you get the one big hit. And by the way, there's a podcast coming up, shameless plug. There's a podcast coming up where we talk to someone who had the one big hit, is an author. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not sure if we'll release it next week. It might come up. This might be my cue to go ahead and release that episode with an author who had an incredibly huge hit in terms of authors and books and just feels like it hasn't come back. But he's not bothered. That's, I think, the key is if you have a big hit and you feel like you have to have the second and you never have the second and it eats you up inside, now we're having an issue. Now, if you are struggling because you realize you're not going to have the second big hit and you think your identity is based on that, now we have a struggle. And the same thing can be said for small and consistent wins. If you're doing the small and the consistent wins and you're looking at the grass is always greener on the other side and you think, oh, well, none of this is adding up to one major accomplishment that everybody can point to, you have to, Paul says, to be content, right? I have learned to be content, whether rich or poor. He learned to be content. So I would love to see any more answers because we have some more friends over here joining us on TikTok. This is super cool. I would love to know, again, if you feel the one big hit is worth it. Again, and I'm trying to give you guys where it actually feels like a choice. The one big hit can sustain you, right? It's all about what's going on with us in relation to success or lack thereof. Yeah, yeah, exactly. The lack thereof is the part that I think really struggles with. Because if you're not having success, period, the one big hit becomes like, it feels like it's going to save the day, right? If I hit one big time, it saves all of this work, feels like it's worth it. And again, I want to sound like the person who never has a desire for the big win, but I'd be lying. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want the one big hit. And I think some of us are agreeing. Like, in our heart of hearts, small and consistent is great. But man, if we could get that one big hit and then life just becomes easy. And I feel like it's kind of like the lottery thing. Like, some of us, I know we're talking to our fellow believers and y'all don't play the lottery. But I feel like some of us are like that. Like, hey, why not just hit the lottery one time and just, tithe, and I'll be good. And I don't have to like fight and fight and fight and fight. I wonder if y'all are like this. You know, those people who win the lottery say, oh, I'm still going to keep working. I think that's what we're talking about. Some of us say we're going to keep working if we ever hit the lottery with the music, hit the lottery with the podcast, hit the lottery. But I wonder, maybe that's why some of us aren't winning the lottery. It's because God already knows we are not supposed to quit working. He needs to keep us hungry and desiring to go for more. And if he gives us that one big hint, I know I want it, says Pastor Fury over here, produced by Pastor. I just don't believe it would be the healthiest thing for me. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think, you know what? This is a big one. We didn't talk about this. Self-awareness, right? Self-awareness. I didn't know we were going to go this direction, y'all, but I appreciate you joining us. So again, if you're joining us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, LinkedIn, I didn't think we could get comments. I'm been corrected. We do get LinkedIn comments. We can share LinkedIn comments, so that's awesome. Can't share TikTok, obviously, but we're learning how to do like the 2-stream thing, and I'll figure out a camera that won't hit me in the head. Y'all, that was like, I'm going to go back and watch that. That's going to be like, oh gosh, I'm going to laugh. I'm going to cringe at the same time because I definitely feel it. So that is my consult. That is our consult. And I would love to hear your response even on email if you didn't get a chance to comment here. Oh, Natural Trendsetters is jumping in. Hey, what's going on, Natural Trendsetters? Good to see our friends here in South Florida. Good to see you guys over there on TikTok. I'm going to figure out somewhere I can keep all the cameras closer together. I think that's one of the things. Like, I put this up like last second, and that's why I have like this super like separated, but I'm going to try to put it together. All right, we're running out of time, so I want to jump into our prescriptions. And thank you so much for joining us. This was a crazy fun call, somewhat dangerous because of what happened, but I survived. And so let's jump into our ending, which is going to be our prescriptions. And here's where I offered you, and I promised you guys to be hung out. Some of you hung out. So let me tell you what you get in response to that and the reason why I wanted you to hang around for a little longer. Let's see. Here is our stinger. All right. Here is why I wanted you guys to hang out. So I just made this like maybe 30 minutes ago. Okay. So for those of you, let's move this so you guys can see everything. Let's do it like this. There we go. So for those of you who are getting the shiny side of Alan, where's the shine going on? Okay, you got this. I love it. Jeez, man. Now I feel like I got to get some powder or stuff. TikTok is messing with me. So I would love to offer you guys, those of you who are watching now, a free membership to the Creator Resource Center. Now you might ask, what is that? Okay, the Creator Resource Center is our templates, trainings, and tutorials all in one place. Everything that God and Gigs offered over the last 12 months in terms of our workshops, those that you missed, all of our guides that you have downloads, all of that available to you inside our membership. And there's membership to our God and Gigs 360 app, all provided for under $20 a month. And I would love for you to take advantage of this, a free month. So basically it gives you 100% off if you use a certain code. So first, here's what you want to do. You want to go to godandgigs.com/CRC. CRC stands for Creator Resource Center. Okay? godandgigs.com/CRC. Okay? That's where you go. Then after you go to godandgigs.com/CRC, Pastor Fury, I think you're already a member with us, okay? So you might already have access to this. Now, after you do that, you want to enter promo code Creator First. Creator First, spelled out, FIRST. So you go to godandgigs.com/CRC and enter promo code Creator First, and you will get a free month. And if you choose the monthly plan, it will be a free month. If you want to do the yearly plan, it's actually more than a free month, because the yearly plan actually is less than what a free month would be per month. It's actually cheaper. So it really lowers that price even more. And you get more like a 10% or even a 12%, 15, 20% cut in your rate for membership. So I would love for you to check that out, because again, if you have been struggling, if you've been frustrated, if you've been trying to deal with your creative calling, if you don't know whether God still called you to this, we have an entire workshop just on creator calling. If you've been struggling with figuring out your finances, we have a whole thing on taxes and creating your finances inside your creator lifestyle. If you've been struggling with how do I figure out this whole situation with networking, how do I figure out my whole social media platform, how do I figure out podcasting, there is a training on every single one of those things inside the CRC. Okay, godandgigs.com/CRC. And then enter Creator First. And I'm going to be honest with you, this promo code will not last. I'll probably leave it up maybe a week or so. But as all things, you got to move fast. I do not want to have people who could be benefiting kind of sitting on the sidelines and they don't jump in. And so this is your light under fire to remind you, don't wait. God is giving you an opportunity to get the resources you need. And we've made it free for the first month. So this is your chance to jump in. godandgigs.com/CRC. Use the promo code Creator First. It gives you the entire $17 month free. So that comes off right away. So it's basically free for 30 days. And then again, under $20 a month. And if you want to go ahead and do the yearly plan, no payments at all for the rest of the year. For 12 months, you get all the access to our app. I wish I could show you the app right now, but you guys are on TikTok. I can't show you the app. But those who are on our live stream, you guys saw the app. Everything Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube can do. All of our videos, all of our testimonials, all of our tutorials, all of our templates, all of that right there on the CRC. And on top of that, again, you can get that first month for free $99. All right. So that's a special offer I wanted to offer to you guys. We're right on time right now with our hour. So I want to thank you and bless you and appreciate you for jumping in. Remember, our podcast goes live every Monday, every platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We go live every single Friday here on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And then if you have signed up for our newsletter, which you can find at godandgigs.com/info, I think that's it. Oh, godandgigs.com/newsletter. You can also go there to get our newsletter. And that is where you can connect with us through the written word, right? So every way that you want to join with God and Gigs so that you can become the creator that you were created to be, that's where you jump in. Our newsletter on Wednesdays, our podcast on Mondays, and then these live streams on Fridays. My friends, this has been a great call. Again, thank you so much, you guys, for helping me survive my own near demise by getting bonked in the head by a camera. I hope if you watch the replay that you got a laugh out of that. I'm definitely going to again kind of swallow my pride and just say, you know what, Lord, this is a sign that, hey, I'm not the best camera person. My equipment probably needs an upgrade, but you know what, God is still good, and He's giving me people that can laugh with me. So thank you all on TikTok. That was super awesome. Me having the TikTok going on at the same time. Wasn't expecting that to be, the kind of thing. I just said, you know what, let me start doing live. Seems like people enjoy it. So glad you guys hung out and once again join us on YouTube anytime you want to actually see everything that's going on. But good to know that this is a place that you guys hang out as well. All right, my friends, that is it for now. So until next time, continue to become the creator that you were created to be. Hope to see a lot of you inside our membership once you get into the CRC, godandgigs.com/CRC. and check out that promo code so that you guys can get a free month of membership and continue to grow as a creator as God gives you the tools that you need to connect the dots between your spiritual life and your creative life. God bless you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.